friends, I'm Akash, and this is your News of the Week for the week of May 15th to May 21st, 2022. I'm Akash Cody, and we have some important stories for you this week. First up, 10 people were killed and another 3 wounded in a mass shooting by a white supremacist at a black supermarket in Buffalo, New York on May 14th, 2022. An 18-year-old white teenager wearing military fatigues, body armor, and a tactical helmet fired 50 rounds in the parking lot of and inside a Tops supermarket in Buffalo, New York, killing 4 men and 6 women, all of whom were black. As the gunman entered the supermarket, the brave security officer guarding the store, Aaron Salter Jr., shot and struck the gunman, but this sadly did not stop the shooter due to the body armor, and the officer was shot fatally right after. Many described the gunman as sick and twisted, and he really was. He live-streamed the whole attack on Twitch, the social media platform. The brave Buffalo City Police arrived at the scene about 6 minutes after the start of the shooting, and they confronted the culprit and took him into custody, saving the lives of many people. President Biden visited the city of Buffalo and condemned the mass shooting and white supremacy in general, and called for unity to stem racial hatred. And the shooter's legal proceedings are still ongoing. Next up, the baby formula shortage in the United States has reached dangerous levels, leading President Biden to invoke the Defense Production Act to produce baby food faster. Long story short, in February 2022, healthcare company Abbott Laboratories initiated the voluntary recall of its Similac baby food due to bacterial contamination, leading to the death of 2 infants. And eventually, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration shut down the Similac factory in Sturgis, Michigan. There is a sort of monopoly, or triopoly you can say, going on in the baby food making companies due to US government policy, because they want to ensure that the babies are safe. That's why there's only 3 companies that are currently approved to make baby formula in the United States. Those companies are Abbott, Reckitt, and Nestle. Abbott and Reckitt co-produce Enfamil, which dominates the market with an 80% share. And as the Sturgis plant was shut down, 80% of the supply chain was basically blocked up entirely. And not only that, to make things worse, importing baby formula from abroad is almost impossible due to those government policies. And COVID supply chain issues also contributed to the shortage of baby food. And now, President Biden is using his presidential executive power to basically fast produce the baby formula to feed American babies. But it will still take at least 2 months to come to the point of self-sufficiency. As for who's affected by this, mostly low-income people. So, almost half of the baby formula in the United States is bought through the government's program for poor people. So this baby formula crisis is hitting poor families very hard. And that's what's going on with the baby food shortage in the United States. Our third story is the United States giving its full support for Sweden and Finland's bids to join the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO. On May 18th, President Biden received Sweden Prime Minister Magdalena Andersson and Finland President Sauli Niinistö in the White House and assured that the U.S. will be supporting their NATO membership, and stood by them if threatened by Russia, and pressing Turkey to not block their membership.
Today I am proud to welcome and offer the strong support of the United States for the applications of 2 great democracies to join the strongest, most powerful defensive alliance in the history of the world. Sweden and Finland, they meet every NATO requirement and then some. And having 2 new NATO members in the High North will enhance the security of our alliance and deepen our security cooperation across the board. And I look forward soon calling Sweden and Finland our friends, partners, and NATO allies.
Sweden and Finland were always historically known for being neutral nations, and their bids to join NATO come in response to Russia's war on Ukraine, which sparked security concerns across the region. And the efforts of these two countries have been met with resistance from Russia, which makes sense because that's what this bid is in response to, and Turkey, who is actually a NATO member. And this actually might be a bit of a problem for these bids because NATO membership requires approval from all of the existing members of NATO, meaning that should Turkey decide not to vote yes to this, then Finland and Sweden just won't be joining NATO after all. And that is the situation with Sweden and Finland joining NATO. Our final story of the week is that starting Thursday, May 19th, 2022, President Biden embarked on his first maiden trip to Asia after he assumed office as the President of the United States. Amid North Korea's missile provocation and Chinese expansionist claims, Biden is visiting America's closest allies, South Korea and Japan. President Biden arrived in Seoul, South Korea on May 20th. Biden and the newly elected president of South Korea, Yoon Suk-yeol, visited the Samsung computer chips factory in Pyeongtaek and stressed that deeper ties with Indo-Pacific allies have the potential to fuel technological innovation and foster vibrant democracies. These computer chips that are used in cars actually have been disrupted greatly by COVID supply chain issues. South Korean companies Samsung and Hyundai are setting up multi-billion-dollar manufacturing industries in Texas and Georgia. And both leaders held bilateral talks on Friday and announced that they are expanding joint military exercises in response to the threat posed by North Korea, and also hinted towards the deployment of U.S. strategic assets in the region. Currently, it's not too well known what these assets are referring to. President Biden offered to provide North Korea with COVID-19 vaccines as it battles an outbreak of COVID-19 that has made 2.4 million people sick and killed at least 66. And on Saturday, May 21st, President Biden signed a $40 billion aid deal to Ukraine while in Seoul. The president will be leaving tomorrow to Japan as part of his trip in Asia before heading back home to the United States. And that is all of your news of the week for the week of May 15th to May 21st, 2022. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you soon in another News of the Week. Goodbye.